This advice that's going to be given is not just for example, the Board of Trustees or this MC or the previous MC. It's not even just for the HIC community. It's for the community at large, right? Our larger community here. And this first point is about, being honest with the self. Most of us know about this idea of honesty, right? When we teach each other honesty, when we teach our children honesty, teach our students honesty, we talk about being honest with other individuals, right? Not to lie. Our ulama tell us that the most difficult type of honesty is with the self. To be self-honest, to truly look within and to be honest with my own self, to make sure that I'm not deluding myself, that I'm not playing games with myself, to really introspect, to perform tafakkur, to look at what I'm doing, my intentions, my plans, my strategies, everything. And we know that any individual, any family, any community, any center, it's impossible to move forward without reflecting on the past. Right? Everybody needs to do that. And we know that, yes, there have been a lot of difficulties in these past few years. Right? Many things, alhamdulillah, were good choices and beneficial choices. And yes, unfortunately, there were some choices which maybe were not the best at that time, and maybe people did think that they were the best at that time. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salatu wasalam, is reported to have said, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Al-Mu'minun li'anfusihim muttahimun. That mu'mineen are constantly critical of themselves. They're constantly blaming themselves and making sure that there's a way for them to improve. وَمِنْ فَارَطِ زَلَلِهِمْ وَجَلُونَ. And they are constantly remaining fearful of past mistakes that have been made. On that note, the first or the next point that we want to offer has to deal with the idea of ulama and specifically relationship with ulama. And when I'm mentioning this, again, my focus is not myself. It's about ulama in general, right? Those who are much higher than me. I'm just a student of Islam. Those ulama who have graced this community, have offered their advice, who have come here to speak, who have visited. We know, and most of you know, I don't have to go through all these riwayat. We know as Shias of the Ahlul Bayt, as lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, the status and maqam that righteous ulama have in this deen. And we know that there is a principle alongside of them as well, that there is a relationship between every alim and every community, or all of the ulama and the Shia ummah at large. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam is reported to have said, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ala إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ خَيْرًا. When Allah wants khair and goodness for a community, أَكْثَرَ فُقَهَاءُهُمْ وَأَقَلَّ جُهَالَهُمْ. When Allah wants this khair, He has an iradat, an intention of goodness for a community, He increases their ulama, their fuqaha, these deep scholars with knowledge, and decreases the juhal, the ignorant individuals. وَإِذَا تَكَلَّمَ الْفَقِيهُ وَجَدَ أَعْوَانًا. And in this type of community where Allah has khair for them, when an alim, when a faqih speaks, then he finds supporters amongst the community. وَإِذَا تَكَلَّمَ الْجَاهِلُ قُهِرُ. But if a jahil decides to speak, then he is defeated and overcome in that community. So, again, I humbly ask this community, which situation do we think we're in over here? Do we think that Allah has decided and had an intention of khair and that this community has been blessed with ulama, or is it the opposite? I ask you, honestly, how many ulama have come and gone in this community, right? Since this community has first been established decades ago. How many have come and moved on? Some for maybe legitimate reasons, but have they all been legitimate reasons? It's something worth thinking about and reflecting. How many other communities are we aware of all across North America? Even, you can include Europe as well, that have had this many ulama in and out, like a kind of revolving door. Right? That should give us some pause and make us think about where our priorities may lie. What's our barometer, our criterion, our milak for determining, right, where leadership should lie. Is there a sign of growth in the community? Is this a sign of Allah's khair, that He has this khair niyat for us? Or is this possibly a sign of adhab and punishment? Right, I'll leave it for you all to decide, inshallah ta'ala. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Of course, you'll be looking for another alim for the community. And inshallah, I pray that you find one better than you deserve. My advice in that regard would be that you find a real alim. And I mean a real alim, I mean a real alim. Not simply an employee that happens to say yes to everything, not a speaker, not an orator, not an entertainer, not a zakir. Right? You might be inclined maybe to find someone who's, let's say, self-studied, someone who maybe even has done online hawza, or maybe they've even done some regular hawza for a couple of years. And all of this might be great for other areas and other communities, right? Even there, that might not be a recommendation, but some communities, but for a community like this that has been established for so long, I would humbly advise that, yes, you look for someone who is very, very well trained. When I mean well trained, I mean someone who has spent a considerable amount of time at the hawza, at least 8 to 10 years, right? Individuals who have gone through, bahth or dars kharij, who have an understanding of ijtihad, who are connected to the fuqaha, the maraji, the ulama, who understand the higher priorities of Islam in general and are able to apply it over here. This is how you can have a true leader, a guide, and a source of wisdom. Yes, maybe for a Muharram or Ramadan, it might be okay once in a while to have a simple muballigh, right? That's okay. Once in a while, we do need motivation, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But for growth, for progression to exist in a community, there needs to be true Islamic leadership. And individuals who have only spent a few years in the hawza, or again, those who have only self-studied or have a minimal amount of studies, are not able to do those. They can't engage in this sort of, these kind of hidayat and guidance. It's something kind of outside of the scope of their research and of their lessons and what they have learned. Because, of course, we know that the ulama are meant to seek their guidance, to seek their hikmah, their basira, their wisdom, their insights and things, right? So if, when, inshallah, a alim is chosen and is invited and they accept for this community, make sure that this alim is truly utilized for the ilm that they, inshallah, will have. As a leader, as a source of guidance and hidayah, as a source of wisdom, as help for strategizing, for planning, right, for making decisions. As a final dua and prayer for the community. Again, I know that some of you may not like this advice and these points that were given. I am once again sharing with you that this was out of love for the community, not spite or hate. If there's anything else that I can offer, right, then I will be here for the community always. While we are, inshallah, preparing to move into a new physical building, it's important that we do not forget spiritual building first. If we take the issues that we currently have, right, the spiritual issues, the intellectual issues, the same ideas, the same strategies, politics, fitnas, all these things, and merely transfer that to a new building, then this will be something that we'll be accountable for on Yawm al-Qiyamah. We want to make sure that when we go into this new building, inshallah, that it comes with a fresh idea, a fresh take, and adhering to proper Islamic principles, inshallah ta'ala.